Okay. What is going on, LBHT crew B? What is going on?
Just, a lot of people being themselves today. Drake still being Drake. Stephen A. still being Stephen A. Cam still being Cam.
What
So,
did Stephen A. do?
Stephen A. said that he would divorce Serena Williams over participating in that halftime or the Super Bowl halftime show. Not
Really?
that not that he has a wife, but whatever.
Okay, I guess we have a new court of public opinion. Okay, move over. Okay, this is news to me. I didn't even hear about that. I cannot stand Stephen A. Smith. You guys should not stand Stephen A. Smith either. He is a total clown. I heard something about him showing interest in getting into politics. If he runs for any office, do not vote for that idiot. He does not know politics. He at least he pretends to know. That's even worse. Being fake and just plain ignorant. Don't vote for idiots like that. Okay. He doesn't understand policy on purpose. Okay. He just wants to get into politics because he buddies up to those idiots on Fox News. Okay. Don't vote for somebody like that. If he's running for any type of office in New York, say no. All right. What's good, chat? Thanks for coming through. Our guy Bazel is here first. What's up, Bazel? Appreciate you as always.
What's up, Bazel?
Pay the Bills is here. Salute to Pay the Bills. Says, I may not have the best stats in life, but that shouldn't stop me from being MVP, right? Hey. Hey. Oh, yeah. We put out a video today. We put out a video about, it's a late reaction, but we want to make sure we gave you a quality video, and we had some thoughts. If you haven't seen it, we had some thoughts, strong thoughts about Dan Orlovsky and why he should be banned from voting for the MVP. That was in there as well. Check it out, because I spent a lot more hours than I should have on that video. But it goes that way when you're a content creator. Zeke Hokage, what's good? Say what's good, family. Thanks for coming through. Just Aloe in the house says, what's up, LBHT crew? Welcome to the best show in town, even though neither guy is in town. I was earlier. I work right over here. In fact, you can see my. I think you can see my building. Yeah, I'm right downtown. Okay, Bobby probably passed me a couple times. Okay. Big Reg in the house says, "What's good, everybody? What's good, Big Reg?
What's up, Reg?"
Bazel says, "I am the lunch break hot take MVP fan." Hey, you're definitely a candidate.
Yes,
you're definitely a candidate. Osmond is in the house. Says, "Hello, Jose, Brodny, and all the chat." Salute.
What's up, Osmond?
Appreciate you. Coach is here. What's up, Coach? Coach, we got to get you on here so we can discuss some draft stuff, because we ain't scouts, okay? And I see you and Chris putting in some serious work on your channel, so we need both of you on here, to be honest, so we can discuss what the Ravens are going to be doing in this first round or two. All right, we'll reach out to you. Brent Lawrence in the house says, "What's good, family?" What's up, Brent? Salute to you.
What's up,
we
Brent?
got Nitro in the house. I see Nitro's doing. He's been doing some morning streams. He says KVN wants more money. I would want more money too.
Right. He's gonna be putting the entire pass rush on his old ass back.
Yeah, give it to him. I mean, not us, but
No,
if you're not gonna draft anybody, give it to him.
I will disagree with you there. Do not give the money to the guy in his mid-30s. Go out and find some edge rushers. But whatever.
But if you're not going to, give him his money.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not going to seriously look for a replacement, give him his money. He's proven it 2 years in a row. He's been the man. Shout out to Chris. Chris says, "Evening, everyone. What's up with
Good
you?"
evening.
Tracy, what's going on? Says hello all. Hello, Tracy.
What's up, Tracy? We got MDT Sports. He said the birthday boys in the house.
Hey. Happy. He said, "Share Sam birthday as great Bill Russell." Okay.
Yeah, spell all that wrong. That's all right.
Happy birthday, MDT
Yes, happy
Sports.
birthday.
Everybody say happy birthday to MDT Sports. We got DDSQ in the house. What's good, DDSQ? Salute. Antonio McClendon is in the house. Salute to you. Says, what's up, guys? What's up, Antonio?
What's up, Antonio? Panthers fan right there.
Salute. Welcome. Wonderkin's show. Nacho says, and I watched it. I could tell you spent time on the first 5 minutes of the video. Oh, I spent time on the whole video. Yeah. The first 5 minutes. Yeah. I put some more. B-roll near the front, but it's spread out through the video. Yeah. Those things take some time, my friend. They take some time. And if I didn't have to work, I probably would have spent a couple more hours, to be honest. Who else is in here? Kim, what's up, Kim? Says, hey guys, I'm still in my feelings. This is my therapy. Kim is a Chiefs fan. Kim, you know what? I don't feel sorry for you. You got 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. All right, and you're not out of it. Your window's not closed.
You are the favorites to, in fact, win the Super Bowl next year. But I feel you, Kim. None of that matters right now. Okay, it's February 12th right now. It's 2025. It's not 2026, and you're hoisting another trophy. It's 2025, and you just got embarrassed on national TV. It doesn't feel good, regardless.
Yeah, yes, the final score, like how you guys lost, that doesn't feel good for sure. But when you won 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls, it's really win some, lose some for y'all, right? If you're the Buffalo Bills fans, man, I didn't even think about it until after the game was over and I was watching their stream. How crushing it is for a fan base like that that's never won a Super Bowl. They have to relive it every time they're out in the playoffs, right? That they still don't have a Super Bowl. That's crushing. Yeah. So you're not them. Okay. Chase is in the house. What's up, Chase? Salute. Who else is in here? We got Willie Seabon. Says, what's good, fam? What's good with you, Willie? What you laughing at?
Kim says, I know we've been spoiled and losing sucks. I guess some teams are just used to that. I'm just saying. You ain't got to talk about my Panthers like that. That's all right.
Oh, our guy Hendo's in the house. What's up, Hendo?
What's up,
Salute
Hendo?
to you. Go check out the Rogue Pod. I think we got everybody. All right. I be saying, what's up? Says, what's up, LBHT? Forget about Stephen A. Minor. Yes. All right. So we got some offseason to talk about. All right. We're going to discuss a couple things. You know, Derrick Henry, he's talking about getting an extension right now. He's talking with the team about getting an extension. Well, you know, we'll discuss what other needs need to happen or other moves that need to happen this offseason for both teams. It's been pretty quiet on the Panthers side, but there are a couple things that we need to talk about, especially wide receiver, really for both teams. And the court of public opinion will be Panthers related once again. Our favorite guy, Cam Newton, just can't stay out of the news. Can't stay out of trouble over there. Okay, always saying something he shouldn't say. All right, that's not true, but we're going to discuss it. Okay, so no Black History fact today. Maybe we'll give you 2 bonus ones next week. All right, and our apologies, we didn't post on the community tab. You know, the post questions. I do apologize for that. That's part of the show. They
can get at us anywhere. Get on Twitter. Get on Instagram.
Actually, we do have one question that was sent to us on IG from our guy P. Brown III. All right, salute. So that will be part of the show. He asked about Deebo Samuel. So you know we'll talk about that. But yes, you can submit a question anywhere. IG, Twitter, TikTok, you know, if that's still up. All right. Now I need to go and check these things because I'm really bad at it. But yes, you can email us, submit your question that way, and we'll read your comment on there.
Reg says he sent one on YouTube. Reg, I'm gonna go check, and if you lying, you're getting banned, bro.
Now, technically, the one he probably because I posted, I put a post for it next week. That's probably the one he submitted it on, but we'll read it tonight. Okay.
No. We read the questions on the appropriate day. Okay, so if he put it under
NDT
next
Sports
week,
says,
then it's next week.
nah, we'll read it tonight because we didn't post one for tonight.
That's okay.
MDT Sports says y'all should celebrate me as Black History Fact today. Hey, on this day, MDT Sports,
One of the
who I'm
biggest
assuming is
haters
black,
of all time.
one of the biggest haters has been born today. What's up, killer? He says, "Hola, Jose," and mucho gusto, Brodny.
Nice to meet you, killer. Listen, I do Duolingo every day. I've got a little over a 200-day streak now. You gotta hit me with more than "nice to meet you" every week. All right, I know Spanish. Okay, I know this.
He does not have the same streak. Okay, all right. So let's start. Okay, Ravens offseason. I just read this, and I know Nitro did a video. Shout out to Nitro, man. Y'all check out Nitro, man. He's putting in that work. You know, he did a video about the Ravens and Derrick Henry in contract extension talks. Okay, B, how do you feel? Is this a good move? Should we be locking him in for next year and beyond?
Yeah, they've got to, right? We talked all season, all off season that they should have gone with Saquon, the younger guy, or Josh Jacobs, but they went with Derrick Henry, and they have to retain him. Like, you've seen now what it looks like to have an actual elite running back standing next to or behind, I guess, Lamar Jackson. You can't go back to Gus Edwards. So yes, you have to get that done, and you should be looking at, if not, maybe not this year, but next year, drafting a running back who will be the replacement for Derrick Henry. But yes, they absolutely have to get Derrick Henry re-signed.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to ask the chat, how do you feel about? Okay, well, we all love Derrick Henry. Do you think he can have a repeat performance next season? That's what I'm curious about. The way he finished the season, I feel like. Yeah, he didn't look like he was slowing down at all, right? He'll be what, 31 next year?
Yeah, 31 or 32. I think 31. And it's going to depend on the O-line, right?
Yes.
I was just reading on Twitter. I forget the guy's name now, but it was retweeted into our timeline about running backs kind of being an accelerant, and the O-line being the like a fire, essentially, right? Elite. An elite running back will make your little campfire into an inferno, but an elite running back is behind a bad O-line is just going to be bad. And I say similar things about wide receivers. They're multipliers for your quarterback, right? They're not going to make a bad quarterback good, but they'll make your great quarterback unstoppable, which is why you need to surround elite players with elite players. For Baltimore, whether or not he can have the same kind of season, it's tough. I mean, he had nearly 2,000 yards this year. He is getting a little bit older, but if they work on the O-line, they improve the O-line, absolutely, because he's still going to have Lamar Jackson next to him. And if you have an O-line that's opening up even bigger holes, then sure. I mean, he might go from 22 miles an hour on that top end speed to 21, but that's still fast enough. Yeah. Especially when guys don't want to hit him.
Shout out to Yolanda. What's up, Yolanda? Thanks for coming through. Also, another person you need to subscribe to, Ravens Talk with Yolanda. A lot of dope content creators in here, so look through the timeline and subscribe to these people. Also, my boy Antonio's in the house. If you love comic books, he's an artist. He draws a lot of comic book characters. Check him out. He's got a YouTube channel as well. Dope content. He's a big Superman fan. He's a big comic book fan. He reviewed the Superman trailer, and he's putting out videos as well. So go subscribe to my friend's channel. Support him as well. All right. I think Derrick Henry said it. If you're running in this offense with Lamar, he makes it easier for any running back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think looking at him play this year, he's always been. I mean, he's a physical back. Especially the more touches he gets down the stretch of the game. But I think the way he ran this year, he did a good job of not trying to take on too much, too much contact early on, picking his spots to really like go off.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that when you have Lamar there, controlling the offense, and defenses can't fully commit to you. So that does turn back the clock a little bit for him. So I do feel good, and he does an excellent job of keeping his body in shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, so I feel good about next year. But like you said, the other half of it too has to be we need to look for his replacement now,
Yeah.
right? Because we don't want to get into a situation where he doesn't have it left, and then there's no plan B. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be we have to get another Derrick Henry or another explosive running back, but we have to have explosive players.
Yeah.
So this is what we keep talking about. You need to look at Tyreek Hill. You need to look at T. Higgins. You need to look at Garrett Wilson. One of these guys that are difference makers, because that will make it easier on everybody. They all work together. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't focus on Lamar, and you can't focus on Derrick Henry. You can't just focus on Garrett Wilson or whoever, right? They can all burn you if you don't have the proper coverage on them. Right. So
Yeah, and you need to surround Lamar with talent because, as we saw once again, you can't expect anyone to play, at a near perfect level for 18, 17, 18, 19, 20 games, right? He's going to have down games. And every time he did, you lost, right?
Yeah.
If you go out there and you get a Tyreek Hill or a player of that caliber, then it takes some of that pressure off of Lamar. He can have a bad game and still be able to move the ball, put up points, because you have other elite talents around him who can pick up the slack. As it is, they want Lamar. Now, granted, obviously Zay Flowers was out in the playoff game against Buffalo,
Yeah.
and that hurts. But having him back will obviously help. But as it is, you look at it and it's like, even with Derrick Henry back there were times when it was just, all right, Lamar, go do it. Now, a part of that was bad coaching, but a part of it is also, hey, we're behind and we got to throw the ball and we got to make it happen. Pick your fighter, Mark Andrews, or Tylan Wallace got in there. It's just the options weren't great when it came down to it. Because Zay was hurt. Then Rashad kind of he got tweaked a little bit in towards the end of the game there. And then you look at the field and it's pretty barren at that point. Yeah. And losing Zay Flowers and even losing both him and Rashad Bateman shouldn't mean you have no one to throw to.
Yeah. Speaking of Tylan Wallace, shout out to Tylan Wallace because he stepped up in that game when they needed somebody to do something. I appreciate that about Tylan Wallace, man. But yeah, coaching, you guys know how we feel about both the coach and the GM. They both need to go, but they're not going anywhere. So we don't really need to spend that much time talking about them leaving because they're not there. They're probably John Harbaugh's probably going to get an extension, right? If he doesn't get an extension, that might be a sign that he's looking to retire or just move on. But he's not getting fired. So the only thing you can do now is hope that they put enough talent on there to overcome his bad coaching in moments. Because I don't think he's an overall bad coach, but in crucial moments, he makes poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Poor decisions. I cannot stress that enough, man. Like he just makes terrible choices, and if we have enough talent on the team, we can overcome that. But we'll see. That's the only thing we can pray for. And like I said, the first order of business has to be re-signing Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, which is why I don't like the first order of business apparently being extending Derrick Henry. You need to call Ronnie and you need to get that done.
Good point. It might be the easiest move, right? But
and you can do more than one thing at a time.
Yes.
I'm sure they're talking to Ronnie, but that needs to be your number one priority.
Yes, they should have done that last season.
Yeah.
Right. When they saw that he was healthy and he's looking good, they should have been like, all right, we've seen enough. You've proven it to us. You're healthy. We love you. Let's get this out the way now. Because now, and I don't know Ronnie Stanley, man. Ronnie Stanley strikes me as an agreeable person. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right. But I hope that's not the case. I want him to hold out and get as much money as humanly possible. I feel this way about every single player in the league, except Aaron Rodgers. I think players need to get the money.
Yeah.
I don't think any player should extend. They should hit free agency and get as much money as possible. As a fan, yes, I hope they extend and we can get him locked up for a long time. But the Ravens need to try, right? They need to make an offer so good that he doesn't want to test the waters in free agency, because if he hits free agency, he is the best left tackle out there. Left tackles rarely become available. He's 31 years old. He's still got a lot of good football left in him. You got a team like the Chiefs, who just got beat up in the Super Bowl, who would absolutely give him a bag, right? So we don't even want to play around with that. We don't have any way to replace him. Rosengarten is not a good answer. And even if he were able to go there over the left side and play solid, what about right tackle? We don't have a replacement there either. So we need to sign Ronnie Stanley. That's number one. All right. Yeah. Derrick Henry's cool. Those are cool. Then we have to start. We got to start looking at this roster and start asking ourselves, really, what are we doing with the defense here? Okay, Roquan, I saw, is making like $23 million next year. First team All Pro. Okay, I didn't see. I got talent on defense. We got talent. I didn't see what I saw out of that Eagles defense, not just in the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl is a big stage. We all saw that. But what the Eagles did throughout the playoffs, they've been doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing that from this defense.
What you're seeing is complacency, and you're seeing that because your head coach is John Harbaugh. Like that's just like they take on the attitude of the coach, and that's how he is. He's kind of just kind of laid back. Hey, we'll get it done whenever. Who's got it better than us? Even though we just lost 5 in a row. It's like there's no fire in John Harbaugh, and they need that on defense. Now you can get that from players, which is why Marcus Peters was valuable to Baltimore. That attitude, but you don't have anybody like that now because Roquan. He does his best Ray Lewis impersonation before the game, but he don't bring that fire like that during the game.
He don't, man. He don't. He did when he first got here, but we also had a very good defensive coordinator. I think with the right defensive coordinator that could put him in the right spots, he can bring that energy, right? But Ray Lewis was a coach on the field. Yeah, Ray Lewis is a coach on the field. Like Ray Lewis didn't need anybody to tell him what to do. Like he knew what to do. He put everybody in position, and when a play needed to happen, he always made the play. Mm-hmm. That's not Roquan. That's fine. Nobody's Ray Lewis, but that it made me wonder though. Like looking at what the Eagles did, do we have that type of talent on the team? Is it we just don't have those guys, or we ain't got the coaching, right?
I think 100% is coaching. Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator.
Yes,
and I'm not. We joke about Oweh all the time. I'm not going to sit here and say Josh Sweat is significantly better than Odafe Oweh. And that's no shade at Josh Sweat. He played a fantastic game, but it's that coach is putting them in positions to do what they do best, and essentially just kind of turning them loose. In Baltimore, not really. And part of that's because, we talked about Zach Orr was a first-time defensive coordinator. He never called plays. He's not very experienced as a coach. And he's 100% going to get better. But you went from, one of the better defensive coordinators in the league with a lot of senior assistants to Zach Orr with a lot of guys without experience helping him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Kim says, I read today KC might go after Stanley. Not might. If he hits free agency, I guarantee they will go after him. Guarantee it.
Yeah. Which is why he can't hit free agency.
Right. Antonio says it's 100% coaching, 1,000% coaching, who has Henry on the 2-yard line and not have them run the ball 3 more times. The same guy that drew up a pass play for Ronnie Stanley. You heard that right.
Hands.
He said it. I confirmed it. AD was on here who pointed out to us. I confirmed it. I went and found a video. John Harbaugh at the 2-yard line drew up a pass play for Ronnie Stanley. That's the play that Lamar got sacked on. Okay. That's what I mean when I say a coach making poor decisions. Why do you need to get cute against a team that you're just better than? They had you had a good momentum going. All right, they stopped them on that one play. You had 3 more tries to get into the end zone. Why are you panicking? You've played this team before. You know exactly what they can and can't do. Run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You get in your own head. And that's what I'm saying. Like those type of moves right there don't get talked about. You know, and if you want to talk about things that Philly does differently than Baltimore, that's one of those moves. When you have a coach that's clearly holding you back, they get rid of that coach.
Yeah.
Andy Reid took them as far as they could take them. And Andy Reid, obviously, is a great coach. Won 3 Super Bowls, worked out for him, but they fired him. Mm-hmm. Doug Peterson came in. They won a Super Bowl. They started to slide backwards, and they're like, "Nah, our windows should still be open. You're fired," or mutual parting of ways.
Yes.
Mutual parting of ways, right? And they got another coach in here, and this is his second Super Bowl appearance, and they won. They dominated, and they kept on adding talent along the way. Like they just got DeAndre Swift not that long ago. They went for Miles Sanders, right? Yeah. Wasn't it DeAndre Swift? Yeah,
they had DeAndre Swift, last year, and they let him walk, and they brought in Saquon.
Yeah, they went from Miles Sanders, who played well, to DeAndre Swift, right? I'm not sure how well he played last year, but he was a good running back going into last year. And then they're like, not good enough. We need to get even better. Let's get Saquon. They keep adding. They keep adding talent. They keep looking for to improve the roster, including the coaching. You know, and we just got stagnant here in Baltimore. We keep saying, well, who can we get better than John Harbaugh? There are plenty of coaches you can get better than John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Right? You can't be afraid to go out there and do it. And it's EDC's job to find those people. Now, back to Zach Orr. Zach Orr, yes. Rough first year. I do believe he'll get better. They started to play better down the stretch. But how much better will they be next year? That's the question. You know, and I don't like that you're bringing on people like Chuck Pagano, who's been out of football for 8 years.
That one, not that long. But that was a bad hire to me. Like they were all excited about it, and I'm like, you're excited about this dude who the league retired?
John Harbaugh doesn't have any good friends. Okay. He doesn't have any good friends. He doesn't have like a real coaching tree, man. If you have to go back and call, what's Chuck Pagano going to provide to this defense? Right? Like, I'm sorry. Like he was good back in the day for sure.
We ain't back in the day no more.
Ain't back in the day anymore. And it's not like Vic Fangio's an older coach, but Vic Fangio has stayed relevant.
Yeah, sometimes the game passes you by. Chuck Pagano, I mean, he's been out of the league for a couple of years. The same with Dean Pease. Like you outcoached your relevancy. Vic Fangio, like you said, he stayed on top of it. He stayed relevant. He stayed current. I don't believe for a second that Chuck Pagano is coming back with some new ideas.
No. So, with that being said, I do think Zach Orr does better next year. But if you're thinking, hey, look what Philly just did. You know, they got all that pressure with the front four. We need to build something like that. Stop thinking that. We can't be that. with this coaching staff, right? You're just gonna waste your money with talented players that will play out of position or just look a little off. And you can't quite figure out what's going on because we don't have that coaching staff. Put your money in the offense. At least Tom Monken is competent, right? Tom Monken, we're not the biggest fans of Tom Monken, but he's working well with Lamar Jackson. He doesn't seem to be holding him back. So you can throw more talent on that side, and you can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Do you want to bring up Deebo Samuel now? That was a question for my guy P. Brown the Third, aka P. Brownie.
Yeah.
If you don't know why we call him that, because if you see his name, it has 3 eyes, and we thought it said Brownie, not Brown the Third, and we called him P. Brownie for like 2 years.
Well, y'all did that. Y'all thought it said Brownie. I was like, that's not likely. But yeah. So as far as Deebo Samuel, Deebo didn't have a great year in San Francisco this year. But if you go and look at his stats, the 1,400-yard season was a bit of an outlier for Deebo. This past season is closer to what he normally does, but he's tired of San Francisco. He wants out, and of course, the question is: should Baltimore be interested? Should Baltimore be going after him? And the answer is no. He's not. He's never been a great receiver in terms of like just being a route runner, catching the ball, and all that. He's been a playmaker. He's been a guy you want to get the ball in his hands and just let him do his thing. And those guys, he's been breaking down physically a bit the last couple of years. And he just, this past season, he looked like he just didn't really have it anymore. Not that he's a bad player, but he didn't have that made him special. If you're going with the older player, then it's Cooper Kupp hands down. When you're talking about like the older receivers, Tyreek Hill should still be number 1 on the board if you're going to go out and try to actually do your best to improve the team. It still should be Tyreek Hill. It still should be T. Higgins. Still should be Garrett Wilson. See if you can convince him to want out of New York. But if you're going to take that step down to the next tier, then I would take Cooper Kupp all day before thinking about Deebo Samuel.
I agree, and I was ringing the bell for Deebo Samuel last year, right? And can he still play? Yeah, he can still play. But like you said, if you're going to go with the older receiver, go somebody that's a little bit more refined, right? As a route runner, it doesn't really rely on physicality as much. So that would be Cooper Kupp, But the answer is neither one of them. Go for Tyreek Hill, who's still ungodly fast. Okay, he can do it all. Right. Go for the best talent possible. I don't want to hear anything about his attitude. I don't want to hear anything about off the field anything. We still have Justin Tucker on the team. All right, and from some people, according to some people, they've known about Justin Tucker for years. So morality, you can throw it out the door.
Please don't do this, people. Hitman 50 says, where is this money coming from? It's coming from wherever you want it to come from, Hitman. All right. Where did the money come from to sign Jalen Hurts and Saquon and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and all those guys they have on defense? Where'd that money come from?
Wait.
It'll come from the same place.
I like asking this question. So, if the Browns are willing to trade Myles Garrett to us, are you down for that? Like, are you on board? You on board for trading for Myles Garrett? I just want to know that answer. Like, hey, they're willing to trade Myles Garrett for, I don't know, first round pick in OA or something like that. Hey man, just answer that question. Would you say, hey, should we do that? We pull the trigger on that? Spiritual War Expo says comes from getting rid of Andrews. That's a start. If we can move things around to get him, well, yeah, absolutely. We can. Marcus Williams is coming off the books. Yes, if we gotta move Andrews out to bring in Tyreek Hill, what's the problem? What's the problem?
I'll tell you what. If you got to move Andrews out, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like there doesn't have to be a second part to that statement. If you got to
I'm
move
not
Mark
laying a
Andrews,
trap, pay the bill. I'm asking a question.
then what's the problem with moving Mark Andrews? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's I believe 11 million saved by getting rid of Mark Andrews. That should be a done deal.
Yeah. Okay. Hitman just dropped a comment and left. It seems like I wanted to get his answer. All right. Do you think we should trade for Myles Garrett? Because people like him always say this when we're talking offense. Oh, where do we get the money for that? But a player like Myles Garrett becomes available, we should do it. Who costs more money? Who's gonna cost more money? Myles Garrett or Tyreek Hill? I mean, Tyreek Hill doesn't get paid a lot.
He does.
But
they'll cost around the same.
Who will cost more money? Myles Garrett or Garrett Wilson? Right? But
Jose, you're forgetting that in a couple of years you'll have to pay Garrett Wilson. Where are you going to get the money?
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, for defense, it's never a question. It's never a thought. Anytime we talked about acquiring anybody on defense, I've never heard anybody say, "Guys, how are we going to get the money?"
Right?
Because we talked about Myles Garrett at trade deadline, and we're like, "Go ahead and do it." Right? Mm-hmm. We're like, "Hey, we shouldn't be spending more money on defense, but that's Myles Garrett. You can go ahead and get him right now." Everybody said, "Yep, you're right. Go get him." Nobody ever said, "Guys, how are we going to afford this?" You figure it out because it's Myles Garrett. That's the same thing. That's the same type of view you should have for Tyreek Hill. I don't care how you afford it, and people have already answered you in the chat on how you can do it. We got guys that we're spending money on that aren't making a difference. Mark Andrews, who I like Mark Andrews, doesn't make a difference. I don't care what Harbaugh says in his pressers. He doesn't make a difference. Definitely not the impact of Tyreek Hill. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. And I don't care, man. That's up for the GM to figure out. I hate when fans say, "Well, how are we gonna afford it?" Is it your money? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you care how they do it? I know, like, how do the Rams do it every year? Yeah. They trade future picks. They pay money, right? They haven't had a first round pick. I think this last year was a first round pick in like 5 years or something like that, right? They still stack with talent. How does Philly do it? This is a second Super Bowl run, and all they seem to be doing is getting more talent
with this coach.
Right.
I like this. OJ says Ravens got to go all in for Garrett Wilson, Myles Garrett, or Max Crosby. Problem is, it's possible that only one of them will be available, and that team is not going to trade that guy to Baltimore.
So, okay, which one though? I want to ask you.
Look, I mean, Max Crosby might be available. We'll see. I mean, they were pretty firm that they were not moving him during the regular season. But hey, it's the offseason now. You can ask again. Myles Garrett, we know, wants out. They're saying they're not going to trade him. They're going to trade him, but they're not going to trade him to Baltimore. And Garrett Wilson, the rumors on Garrett Wilson are that he wants out if Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, or if Aaron is the quarterback, and they said Aaron is not the quarterback. So presumably he will not want out of New York anymore.
But no, my question is, because he said we need to get one of them. Which one do you want to get? That's my question, OJ. Let's say those three are available. The Ravens can get one of them. Which one do you choose? Because there's only one answer.
Yeah. The answer is very clearly Garrett Wilson.
Yes. And that's not the answer most people will pick. They'll say Myles Garrett. That's the wrong answer. It's the wrong answer. And not saying Myles Garrett wouldn't work out, right? Yes, thank you. Because Myles Garrett is one of those players in the playoffs. We need a turnover. We need something to happen, and he could do it.
Hold on. Ed said, I told y'all having two top tight ends is pointless to an extent. How would you know? You don't have two top tight ends? Which two tight ends are you referring to? You know what having two top tight ends looks like? It looked like Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. Y'all don't have that.
Yeah, that's true.
You have a pretty good tight end in Mark Andrews, and a guy who looks like he could be pretty good also in Isaiah Likely if he got the job, but has not had the job.
Yeah, because I hear you, because Mark Andrews in the regular season, he's a top tight end, right? Like, you say top 5, probably top 5.
Mark Andrews, I mean,
in regular season,
probably not.
No,
I don't.
It's weird, right? Because like
he was for that one season, maybe a top 5 for a couple other seasons, but now I wouldn't say so. No.
He had a pretty good year this past season. I think he lead?
He had a lot of touchdowns towards the end of the season is what really kind of blew. But he had, I think, right around 600 yards, I believe it was.
But I think he's up there. But the thing is, what he gives you in the postseason, which is nothing, which is why he's not a top. Like he can have 1,200 yards in 14 touchdowns, but he gives you nothing in the postseason. So I can't put him in the top anything. Right?
And this postseason, he actively worked against you.
Yeah. And 7 years into his career, I can't call him anything else other than, I mean, I don't want to call him a bum, but he's not the guy, is what I'm trying to say. You can't look at him any other way other than he's not the guy until he does it. 7 years, man, of him not performing. I can't call him a top tight end.
Okay, so we got 3 tight ends who went over 1,000 yards.
Who are they?
Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and George Kittle. After that, Jonnu Smith went for 884 this year. Jesus. Travis Kelce still went for 823 as a shell of himself. Sam Laporta at 726. A good young tight end there. TJ Hawkinson, I haven't gotten to him yet, but he's also
he was hurt, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I'm saying he's somebody I would take over Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews finished the season 1 yard behind Hunter Henry, but the thing is, again, he had a lot of touchdowns. He had 11 touchdowns. He went on that streak towards the end of the season, but touchdowns are hit or miss. Those go up and down. They fluctuate quite a bit, and I think that the 670 yards is right around where Mark Andrews is going to live for the rest of his career. He's not a top tight end at this point, I don't think.
Even if he, because guys, we're going to have this conversation next year, right? Things we'll hit our stride at some point throughout the season. Mark Andrews will look great. He'll make some nice one-handed catches. He'll make some physical catches for the in the end zone, and people will be like, "Hey, what you think about Andrews now? What you think about Andrews now?" And I'm gonna say the same thing I said last year and the year before that and the year before that. Hey, I like him. I hope he can do it in the playoffs. Right? The playoffs is what matters. Not what you're seeing in the regular season. We know these guys can perform in the regular season. Like, regular season doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, we are a playoff team. What can we do in the playoffs?
Y'all are unbelievably disrespectful, bro.
What?
Unbelievably disrespectful. My man said Mark Andrews needs to donate his fingers to JPP. JPP don't even play no more, man. Oh, good Lord.
Why? They're not functional. Why you want Mark Andrews' hands?
And they learned it. And they learned it from watching you.
Why would they want those fingers?
You say JPP would be like, I'm a pass.
No, thank you. Yeah, but the point is, don't be afraid to go out there and get talent. Like we need to. Okay. For the record, I don't think Mark Andrews is going anywhere. We know Harbaugh's not going anywhere. They're bringing back Derrick Henry, which is the right move. But we need more. Okay? Like, they are going to try to make a splash somewhere. Their sort of splash. Okay? Do I think they're going to get Tyreek Hill? No, I don't think they're going to get Tyreek Hill, but I'm going to campaign for it. Do I think they're going to get T. Higgins? No. I would be stunned if they did one of those moves.
You're gonna get Josh Sweat, and you're gonna like it, and you're gonna wonder why he has 6.5 sacks next year.
He's a good player.
He's fine. But the point of the Eagles is that they have a lot of good guys in that front seven, and it's not like, oh man, Josh Sweat is a beast. No, it's you can't block everybody.
I know we spent a lot of time on Ravens, but I have another question, man. Like, B, do you think we're going defense in the first round?
Yes, 100%.
100%?
100% you're going defense in the first round.
Chat, do you think the Ravens are going defense in the first round?
This is the real answer here, and I've seen Ravens fans who want this. We getting Calais Campbell again. Like, see, I got to stop looking into the past.
Calais will be 90 next year. What's up, Buck?
What's up, Buck?
You're right, he's a Chris. Guys, do you think we're going defense in the first round? We can't afford that. We can't afford that. I think there will be some good defensive players right there. Don't get me wrong. I think it's, we could get a D lineman. Mm-hmm. We could get a safety or a corner, and I think that guy could be pretty good for us. We can't do that, man. We can't. We cannot. Yeah, people are like, unfortunately, yes. Big Red says, or trade back. If we trade back, ooh, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad. There should be a rule imposed just for the Ravens that we are not allowed to collect any more than 7 picks in a draft.
Yeah. And there should be a rule in Carolina that you have to use the 7 picks you got. All right. Like, it's not that big a deal. Just go to work for those 3 days and use your 7 picks.
Well, that's part of the failures right now is they have all these draft picks and they're just not contributing enough to the team. Right. We're talking about who was it that in the last stream talking about we need to replace Brent Urban. Excuse me? We need to replace Brent Urban. We don't have all those picks that we've accumulated over the last few years. We don't have a replacement on the team. No. You can't replace Brent Urban. We can't replace Pat McCarry. No. We can't replace these guys.
John doesn't like the guy who would replace Pat McCarry. No. Ben Cleveland. He's not real fond of him.
Yeah. So. It's too many draft picks. People that have been drafted for us to sit here and say we can get somebody later. Right? Yeah, we need offensive linemen. You guys know we need guards. We know that. So we can't
acting like you don't have a 24-year-old Pro Bowler at guard.
Right. But we can't sit here and say, let's go defense. We can get the guard later. Nah, man. Nah, make it a priority.
And I stay saying, people watch that Super Bowl, and obviously the thing that jumps out at you is that Eagles front and how they got after Pat Mahomes all night. They sacked him 6 or 7 times, and they didn't blitz once. So that's what's going to jump out at people. But I always think you're taking the wrong lesson from that. It's not, let's go get 5 edge rushers or 5 pass rushers. It's, let's build an offensive line so that doesn't happen to us. That's why the Chiefs have lost 2 Super Bowls, is because they got there twice and they weren't able to block. Yeah. They weren't able to block Tampa Bay and they got destroyed in that game. They weren't able to block the Eagles. They got destroyed in that game. The other 3 times they went to the Super Bowl, they had to go up against Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead and guys like that. They had really good pass rushers in San Francisco. They just could block them. That's all.
Yeah. And they're going to correct that problem this offseason, one way or another. All right. I just hope it's not with Ronnie Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk some Panthers, man, because Panthers have been quiet. Okay. But while we're sitting here talking about what the Ravens need to do at wide receiver, the Panthers are actually going to make a move at wide receiver. Now they got some big news. Adam Thielen's coming back next year.
Yes.
I think that's good for y'all.
It is good.
I think that's good for y'all.
I wouldn't call it big news, but yeah, it's good.
Provides a little stability there. Do you think they're still going to get somebody like T. Higgins or or try to trade for somebody, or you think they'll just look to the draft to draft a young wide receiver? Who's the top wide receiver in this draft? I can't pronounce the guy's name.
Teteroya McMillan, or unless you like Travis Hunter. But a lot of people don't have him as the best receiver in the draft.
Is he going to play? Is Travis Hunter going to play wide receiver or corner in the league? He's not doing both.
I think he should play wide receiver, but it's going to depend on where he goes.
Okay.
I would think, but I think he's a better receiver than corner, and like I said, he's not going to play both. And if I'm him, I'm playing wide receiver because one, you're going to have a bigger impact on the game, and two, you're going to make more money playing wide receiver than you are playing corner.
Yes.
As far as Carolina, there's a lot of talk about Cincinnati making a huge push to keep T. Higgins there, and Joe Burrow is pressuring that front office to make sure they keep T. Higgins because I'm not going out there with just Jamar Chase and no defense and no O-line, right? Hopefully he fails at that. Like he
said, he said we need all hands on deck.
Yes. Well, hopefully he fails there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Think about that, guys.
Hold on. My man said the Panthers won't know how to use Deebo Samuel. All you do is hand him the ball. You guys don't know how to use Derrick Henry. You were on the 2-yard line and you were like, throw to left tackle. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Think about this, man. Joe Burrow, who was an excellent quarterback, is out there like, are you trying to ruin me? Right. He has probably like the number 2, top 3 wide receiver in the league. He hit the Triple Crown this year. He's the top wide receiver this year, right? And they're like, hey, T. Higgins is a free agent. We don't need, we don't need him. We got the best wide receiver in the league. And he's just like, are you trying to ruin my career?
Right.
I need everybody.
He used to spend his off seasons wondering what color he's going to dye his hair. And now he's like, I got to be in the office every day to make sure y'all are running this team right because you're going to let go of my number 2 receiver. But no, so I'm hoping obviously that fails and that Carolina, I think if he's a free agent, Carolina will make a big push to sign him. But, obviously he's a free agent. He can go wherever he wants, whatever. I think that they, outside of T. Higgins, I think the free agency period will be mostly about defense. They have holes all over their defense. I mean, like if you point to a level of defense, there is a hole. They're getting Derrick Brown back. That's about it on defense. I mean, they've got J.C. Horn. He's a pretty good player, but it's really just those 2 guys. So they can upgrade pretty much every other spot on defense.
You've mentioned it before in a couple of our videos, and it doesn't get talked about enough because it's kind of weird, right? Like the Panthers had an interesting year. They started out really bad. Bryce Young looked like a total bust, and then Andy Dalton had a accident, and things turned around for Bryce, and people were so caught up on Bryce's turnaround that people didn't even realize that y'all had the worst defense in NFL history
ever, right? Yeah, and honestly, but here's the thing too. They were so caught up in Bryce's turnaround that you didn't realize the offense still kind of sucks too. They need a lot of talent there as well. I think that I'm still of the opinion that Abdul Carter is going to be there for them at 8. Everybody's like, oh no, he's going number 1. The Titans aren't taking that dude number 1. Right?
Yes, coach, ever.
Yeah, they gave up more points than anybody ever. But the Titans aren't taking that dude number
alarming.
1. And, mock drafts have even come off of that in the last couple of weeks. Now he's dropped down to 4 in mock drafts to the Patriots. By the time we get to the draft, he'll be right there for Carolina. But
where are you guys picking?
Picking 8th.
I think you have to move up a little bit.
He'll be right there. But if not, because a lot of these mock drafts have pivoted to Carolina taking Jalen Walker out of Georgia, who's another kind of really athletic, versatile guy who can play off ball and he can rush the passer and everything. That's fine. It'll be a player like that, a Mason Graham, wide receiver McMillan. Travis Hunter may even fall down to 8 there at this point. But like I said, that's the beauty of being a bad team is you're not really looking at 1 or 2 prospects. They can take 6 or 7 guys in that spot and get better. Basically everybody who's projected to go in the top 10 will be a starter for Carolina.
Yeah,
pretty much. So, yeah, I think that they are definitely really locked in on getting a number 1 receiver for Bryce. So if I had to bet, if Abdul Carter's not there and McMillan is, or Travis Hunter, I would bet on them taking one of those guys.
Okay.
Assuming they don't get T. Higgins. Yeah.
Haitian Chris says T. Higgins made 21 mil playing on a tag this year, so if they do it again, the price is going to be way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to tag him again, I don't think.
No.
It's just going to be too much for them.
Yeah. And the Panthers will pay it. They've shown this regime here has shown if they see a need, they'll commit to throwing money at it and investing in it, because you guys, it was looked at as overpaying for Hunt and Damian Lewis.
Yeah.
But they worked out, man.
They did. They both played very well. Hunt had a fantastic year, and Hunt has been he's already one of the leaders on the team. And he's a culture guy, right? He kind of brings that attitude that you want to see on the O-line and on the offense. So I mean, they were great investments. Eric DeCosta should learn from that. OJ saying I'd like Mason Graham to be a Panther. I'd like to see that too. Pair him with Derrick Brown. Like I said, there's a lot of very interesting ways they can go with that pick because they're so bad. That's the one upside about being that bad.
Man, Abdul Carter and Derrick Brown, because Derrick Brown was hurt last year.
Yeah.
Man, that's a serious line.
Yeah.
And you guys see what other moves they make this offseason. Like I said, I think, yes, T. Higgins, if T. Higgins is available, they get T. Higgins. If Garrett Wilson is available, I can see them making a move for Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Young wide receivers, but I don't see them going after Deebo Samuel. I don't see them going after Cooper Kupp because Adam Thielen is coming back. They had the veteran wide receiver on the team already. They want to go young, and I know wide receiver is a main focus for them because look, drafted Xavier Legette. We'll see if he develops more, but Canales put Legette out there. He got a lot of targets. I think because Canales it's not one of those, oh, we're going to slowly bring him along. Like, no, we got to see if you got it.
Yeah.
And we need to see it now. If you don't have it now, we're still going to work with you, but we're going to add more to the team. Like I think he's serious about getting Bryce Young protections. He's already done that. And now he's going to work on getting Bryce Young some weapons.
Yeah.
So. Anything else?
No, I mean, outside of that number 8 pick, I think you're going to see them really look to reinforce the O-line. I think they're going to look to bring in a new starting center. I think they're going to get a tackle at some point, whether that's free agency or the draft, to try to push Ekwonu a little bit because this is kind of the make or break year for him. Yeah. And I do think that you're going to see a lot of work on that D-line. With it just being Derrick Brown, they're in dire straits along the D-line.
Jay says can't go Mason Graham, pair him Derrick Brown and Ashawn. Go Will Johnson and pair him JC. Go T-Mac or Hunter to be that alpha for Bryce. Trade down and target the tight end Warren, JPJ. I don't know who that is. Walker, etc. Dan can't mess up.
He can. We just watched him mess up. He took Xavier Legette over Ladd McConkey when we all knew Ladd McConkey was the pick. And look, I'm not going to blame him too much for the second pick of Jonathan Brooks because, guys get hurt, but he's, coming off that torn ACL, tore his ACL again. Who knows what you're going to have left, when he gets back at this point. But he did make some good picks as well. I think Trevin Wallace was a good pick. I'd like the Jatavian Sanders pick. I even like the Child Smith Wade pick. We'll give some more time to pan out. But he don't get into that comfort zone of thinking you can't miss. You can miss. Even picking that high, you can absolutely miss.
All right, a little off topic, but I want to bring up Bazel's question here. Meet and greet info. He's talking about the Roundup meet and greet. We had one. It's been 2 years now, right?
Yeah,
Been two
coming up
years.
on.
We haven't discussed anything for one this summer. I know we kind of mentioned that on the Roundup. The Roundup has taken a little break. We just got way too busy. But I will discuss with Coach Chris Hendo, okay, the crew, and see what we can do. That last one was nerve wracking putting that together, but it came together great. Everybody had a great time. A lot of people showed up. Bazel was there. So yes, we say we want to do it again. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it, Bazel. We'll figure out something. May not be that same venue. Maybe it will. Who knows? But we'll talk about it. But if we do decide, we need y'all to buy those tickets early, because you guys like to buy tickets late, man. Like, we didn't see a lot of sales, and then that last week, those sales shot up. And then it got to a point where it's just like, should we keep selling tickets? I don't think we have enough food for everybody that's showing up, you know?
Hey, don't be sitting here talking about who all gonna be there. All right, buy your ticket.
Right.
You know, it's like one of our
yes, Coach.
Our frequent viewers. Be the change you want to see in the world. Buy that ticket.
Hendo and B hit me up that week and they're like, we gotta stop selling tickets. I don't think we're gonna have enough food. I was just like, don't worry about the food. Don't worry about it. Keep selling the tickets. You know, people are gonna have a good time, and they did. Yeah. They did. The after party was great. You know, hung out at Mikey's house afterwards. That was great. You know, just great time all around. Great time. Is the Henny included? They had drinks there. I'm not sure they sell Henny yet. Busboys and Poets. I don't know. I don't drink. So.
I don't think we're going to be at Busboys and Poets, so that's not really relevant.
Well, yeah, probably not. We'll find another venue. So Henny might be included. Hasten Chris. All right, we'll let y'all know. He's buying 5 VIP tickets. That's what Bazo said. All right, man. All right, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna talk to Coach. All right. Okay. So yes, the Panthers, even though they showed a lot of promise, still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
still a lot of work to do. But I'm very excited, man. Like, this is, when you're rebuilding and you're doing it the right way, you get excited, right? Because there's all kinds of possibilities. You have faith in your coach, you have faith in the GM, and you just want to see what moves they make. Yeah,
I think that finally they've got the coach and quarterback taken care of, because they've had the quarterback before. They had him with Cam. Excuse me, but they didn't have the coach. They had Ron Rivera. Now I think that they've got the right guy in both positions with Bryce and Dave Canales. They did the right thing. Dan Morgan did the right thing, aggressively trying to improve the O-line this past offseason, and I think he's going to go ahead and finish that up this season. And now he's got to attack the rest of the skill positions on offense, and then he's got to go. I mean, it's gonna be a struggle on that defense, but you got to start somewhere, and using that 8th pick to get a cornerstone on the D line or an edge rusher or something like that is a good place to start.
And I don't want you to take this the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at Bryce, right, I can see. Look, he still has all the potential in the world, but I think at the very least, he could be Jalen Hurts for y'all, right? Because could we joke about Jalen Hurts?
He's better than Jalen Hurts.
But what I'm saying is, Jalen Hurts is good enough to win with, right? When we talk about quarterbacks that are good enough to win with, Jalen Hurts is that. He just showed you that, right? And I think Bryce Young he's showing you that you can win with him. So even if he doesn't become like a great quarterback, right? You can win with the guy.
I shouldn't say he's better than Jalen Hurts here. That's not fair to Jalen. Bryce hasn't even done it for a full season yet. But
right.
If you're looking at that half season last year after he came back from the benching, the way he played in that stretch, he looked like a better passer than Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was he was on point he was on fire for weeks, and he ain't working with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith out there. I'm not gonna. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It wasn't AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Okay. Don't take it the wrong way, but you get my point though, right? Like,
yeah. They've got their guys there, and now you can worry about the rest of the roster. And yeah, it doesn't have to take long for the rest of the roster. I mean, I'm talking about it's going to be a big thing on the defense. If they get another, 2 difference makers on defense, then the defense looks completely different. They had a lot of injuries on the defense as well this year. It's easy to go out and sign kind of average guys to raise your level from terrible up to just mediocre. And that's where you start. You go out and you just get a bunch of guys who can play their position. They're not stars. They're not difference making players, but they can play the position, and they're not going to embarrass you every single week. That'll get you up to around middle of the pack, and then you worry about improving where you can from that point on.
Yeah. See, Osmond says right here, Bryce has a higher ceiling than Hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And congratulations to Hurts, man. I'm glad he got
benched for Kenny Pickett. Yeah, that was wild. in the Super Bowl. Yikes! But he got that ring though.
Yeah. Good for him. And look, they're gonna be in position again next year. So look, they showed you a blueprint on how to build a team. I mean, Kansas City did too. They lost this one, but they're always expected to be there. Those are the 2 standards in the NFL right now on how to build your team and how to compete. We got to stop saying later. The Panthers can say that, right? Their quarterback is young. The team, brand new head coach, GM. The team is young, but in another year or 2, they're not going to be saying later. They're going to be saying we need to compete now. And the Ravens, that's what the Ravens are. They need to compete now.
Well, and listen, there's no shame in stealing. Okay, like if you're in Baltimore, you got to stop praising Baltimore for putting together these value drafts that draft Twitter loves, and start asking them where are the impact players, right? Because what did Philly do? Philly went out and they drafted every player they could draft from the Georgia defense, just about.
Yeah.
Right. They said, hey, these guys are winners. They recruit great. They develop players. They're great at developing these defensive players. I'm just going to take their guys. There's no shame in doing that. The Panthers Panthers fans are already talking about going and getting Milton James and Josh Sweat, or Milton Williams. Sorry, not Milton James. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat from Philly's D line, right? Because why? Because they're winners. Right? Yeah. Because they can play. They showed they can play. Don't overthink it. Go get guys that can play. And Baltimore needs to do the exact same thing. Why? It's been years, right? It's been years. But why Odafe Owe in the first round? Who was thinking that? Who said, hey man, we got to get this guy out of Penn State in the first round who had 0 sacks last year?
Nobody was talking about for the first round.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like, we got to grab before somebody else. Who was talking about Odafe Owe? Nobody. You were trying to outsmart yourselves, right? I mean, why David Ojabo? No, he wasn't a top 15 player. If he was a top 15 player, guess where he would have gone? The top 15. It doesn't matter that he got hurt. He still would have gone there. But, you look at him and you say, hey, man, he's falling like a rock, but here's a steal. We'll sit him on IR for a year and then we'll look like geniuses. No, you won't. You'll look like you drafted an injured guy who couldn't play. You know who else did that? Trent Baalke did that in San Francisco. And we all kind of looked at him like, oh man, he's grabbing all these star players who are hurt. And in a year or 2, they're going to be stacked. None of them panned out.
Yeah. You make moves like that end of the 3rd, 4th round, right? Guys that fell that could have been drafted higher because, injuries or whatever, made them shoot down the draft board. That's where you go and make those type of moves. 2nd round, we need that guy out there to play because that's why we're letting players go. That's why we say we don't need to sign anybody because we're gonna draft well. Well, if you go and get George Pickens, instead of Ojabo, we don't have to sit here and discuss wide receiver right now. We don't have to discuss, trading for somebody or spending money or anything like that. We have that person.
Mm-hmm.
If EDC is a great GM, right? We keep hyping him up as one of these top GMs. He makes those kind of moves. The top GMs make those moves. He has to start making those moves, and he can't be wrong every year.
Right.
So, all right. Court of public opinion. We didn't even switch scenes, but that's okay. Y'all like this scene. Okay. Court of public opinion. You want to switch to that scene? Let's do it. Now I didn't pull up any quotes. You want me to pull it real quick?
I don't think we need to take too much time with it. We can kind of go over it. We don't need to pull up the quotes necessarily.
Well, yeah, I don't want to misquote people here. Okay. I got it up here. Let's switch scenes, ladies and gentlemen. I'll wait for B. Make sure B's ready. Okay. B's pulling up the scene. All right.
I'm ready.
This may not be the court that you. It may not be a real court, but it's the court that you need. All right. Court of public opinion is starting right now. All rise. All rise. Court of public opinion is now in session. All right. Look, this is going to be a quick one, sort of, I think. Cam Newton, he's in the news again. I'm guessing this is during media row during Super Bowl week, where he made comments about his old team when he first got picked number 1 overall to the Panthers. And I'm not sure what he was referencing, what the conversation was, but essentially he said, "Hey, when I got to Carolina, we had a locker room full of losers, right?" And a couple of former players took offense to Cam Newton saying that. One of them saying basically he's just trying to get attention or trying to stay relevant or something like that. All right. What are your thoughts, B?
Well, I'll say my thoughts on this are, one, it's nonsense. Like, what do you care what Cam's like? He's talking about the process of being picked number 1 as a quarterback, right? And coming into the league into that situation where you're typically coming to a bad team. Why are you taking offense? Like, this is him talking about his experience coming into the league. You were losers. You went 2-14. You didn't get the number 1 pick because you won a bunch of games. They didn't say congratulations, Super Bowl champions. Oh, and here's the number 1 overall pick. No, you were bad. You lost a ton. He's not saying that every one of you sucks at football, but as a team, you were 52 losers.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't a team. It wasn't a cohesive unit. And that's why you bring in a quarterback at number 1 overall, because the quarterback's job is to turn that franchise around. He has to take your little gaggle of misfits and the few guys who do have some talent, and he's got to get them all pulling in the same direction, right? Like that's why you draft that guy at number 1, to be the leader of your team, to be the face of your franchise, because you're all lining up behind him and he's leading you into the future.
Yeah. Now Steve Smith is one I'm looking at. He responded. He's one of the people that was upset. This is one of the tweets that he put out there. He says, "I watched and listened from afar as you, Cam Newton, talked about Panthers. None of us are perfect. Yes, we were 2-14 before you blessed us with your presence. The way you have talked about the Panthers lately, I'm very disappointed. I'm wishing you nothing but the very best. I'm done." Anybody but you, Steve Smith.
Yeah, I don't want to hear
anybody but you, Steve Smith.
I don't want to hear it.
Steve Smith, who broke an orbital bone of his teammate. Steve Smith, who would go up to teammates when they're doing interviews, say, "You need to get out there and practice." Right?
Also broke his teammate's jaw. One of the starting corners, Ken Lucas.
I don't want to hear from you,
no,
Steve. Anybody but you. You weren't. I'm gonna say you're a bad teammate. You're at times you were a bad teammate. Okay. I don't want to hear from you because Cam Newton wasn't even really criticizing. He was making a statement. You guys sucked. Right? You sucked. That wasn't a dig at any individual. You were a bad 2-14. What are we discussing?
Right. And Steve saw a pretty nice bump in production going from Jimmy Clausen to Cam Newton as well.
Right.
So I think that he could have worded it differently. Sure. Right. You don't necessarily have to say, hey, 52 losers. Like it was a bad team. It wasn't because look, every single team in the NFL has talent. Every single one of them. I don't care who you're looking at. They've got a lot of talent, but it's about getting all of that talent pushing in the same direction. Right. So I don't know. It seems like you're just kind of overly sensitive about his opinion on it, I guess.
Now let me ask this, right? Because I'm listening to it right now. He said, I went to the locker room with losers. Now, if he said, when I got there, it was a locker room full of winners, you'd be calling him stupid.
Yeah.
Right? You'd be saying, man, that guy's stupid. What are you talking about? You guys sucked. Right? But you said it was a locker room with losers. Then it's like, oh, well, how can you say that? How can you say that? That's what they were.
And especially, again, and this is the experience for a lot, not all quarterbacks, but a lot of quarterbacks who get drafted that high. You don't know what losing is like. Cam went to, I mean, I can't remember if Florida won. I think Florida won the championship the year he was kind of there. Like he didn't play, but he went to Blinn College. He was starting quarterback there. They won the championship. He went to Auburn. He was a starting quarterback at Auburn for a year. They won the championship. And then he comes to Carolina to a team that won 2 games. Not a title, 2 games. And a lot of quarterbacks have that kind of, that shock when they get into the league. Bryce Young is going through it right now.
But
Bryce Young didn't lose.
That's exactly what I'm looking at. That's exactly what that's the point he was making is he came from, a winning culture to a losing culture. Yeah. And he's talking about changing the culture. How do you? He's like, it was a culture shock to me, and he had to go in there and change it because he's a quarterback. Nobody can affect the game like a quarterback. And he's basically telling Travis Hunter that, like, the impact that you have coming in as a number 1 pick. There's nothing wrong with what he said.
Right. And then, if you want to say, hey, maybe you could word it differently. Okay, whatever. But the point that he's making, because and I think this is from the same conversation he had with Travis Hunter about going number 1 overall. But
yes,
it's on you as a quarterback. Like nobody's looking at Travon Walker, who the Jags took number 1 overall a couple of years ago to turn that team around. They're still looking at Trevor Lawrence to do it though, right? Because he's the quarterback. So you come in there having done nothing but win. And it's a group of guys who honestly have done nothing but lose recently. Like I said, Bryce Young's going through the same thing right now. Bryce Young didn't lose in college. That's not what he was about in college. And you get to the NFL and you can't win a game. You get to the NFL and I don't think there's a single player on the Panthers roster who's had a winning season in Carolina. They've been under 500, winning 5 or at most 5 games every year for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's a losing culture. Those guys are, Derrick Brown's a great player. Chuba Hubbard had a great season. Taylor Moton, he's been a very good player for a long time. They're losers.
Yeah.
That's what they do every single year that they go out there. They lose. So
I just, first of all, this is a lifetime ago. It's a life, and he didn't say the Panthers organization is a terrible organization. He didn't say anything like that. First of all, if he went out there and bashed the organization, that's well within his rights. They didn't treat him well on the way out. So that's another thing, Steve Smith. You're talking I didn't see these tweets about how the organization mishandled Cam Newton's career at the end. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear you out there,
or at the beginning, in the middle.
Right. I didn't hear you out there bashing Ron Rivera for ghosting him when he needed a job.
They had a conversation about that as well.
Did they?
So yeah, he finally sat down with Ron and asked him about it, and essentially Ron said, yeah, they talked about it. They wanted to bring him in, but they had just drafted Haskins. Right. And he was like, so at that point, you're not looking for the quarterback, because they already had some, 1 or 2 other guys there. And Cam's like, yeah, no, sure. Right. But then he's like, after that, Cam signs in New England when they were looking for a quarterback.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, no, I mean, like when Washington was looking for a quarterback, he had just signed in New England, and like it just, it didn't line up when they were looking for it, and him being available.
I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either. Like
That's a lot.
I've always thought of Ron as a good guy, and I don't know. It seemed like a pretty weak explanation to me. Like, just because you drafted Dwayne Haskins doesn't mean you can't bring in Kent. You brought in other guys who you coached in Carolina.
Kyle
Allen, Taylor Heineke. I don't know
those
if
guys,
the third one, but yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Taylor. Well, they both played, right? Like there are plenty of opportunities for you to bring in Cam after he got cut from New England. There are plenty of opportunities. You're just a liar. I don't like Ron Rivera, man.
Yeah.
I went from liking him to now. I just don't like the guy. All you had to do is apologize, right? You're making up all these excuses over the time and this and that. Like, he's not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you can't even say, hey, I made some bad choices, man. Like and even if that were the case, let's just say, man, there are a few times I wanted to sign you. I thought you'd have been a big help, and then you were in New England, and then you were back in Carolina, and then like after that, like Heineke just got hot, and GM wasn't really feeling bringing you in or whatever. Like, no matter what it was, why didn't you call him?
Right.
Why didn't you say, hey man, this is a situation here, whatever. Stay, stay ready. We're gonna try to bring you in or whatever. Like, give him a heads up, or hey, like we try to bring you in, but the timing was off, whatever. Why did it have to wait until now?
Yeah,
to hear from you.
Years later, having Cam say publicly how that hurt him before you have that conversation.
Man, and of course, because Cam's a good guy, he'll forgive him. I wouldn't forgive him. I'm a very petty, and I hold grudges type person. I would not forgive him. I wouldn't have him on my show. I'd be talking trash about him the whole time. Okay, you come on my show and lie to my face. Nah, I like you even less now.
All right, we have the poll up now. If you agree with what Cam is saying, which is essentially, you come in as the number one pick of quarterback to a losing culture, and it's your job to kind of turn it around. Hashtag Cam. If you side with the losers like Living Legend does, hashtag losers. You say, hey, don't talk about my 2-14 team like that. Hashtag losers. But
which is what that's pretty much what Steve Smith and Steve Smith is hilarious, right? Because when they were losing, Steve Smith wasn't out there saying these are my guys.
No, he was not. He was saying get me out of here.
He was saying get me out of here or get these bums out of here.
Yeah, he asked for a trade. And then he hated the organization after they moved him out. So whatever. I know that I think Steve's trying to turn around his image kind of thing. Maybe not even his image, but
make fun of me. Why would you want to make fun of me, Osmond?
Wow.
You can tease me. That's fine. I'm sorry, man. I cut you off.
No. I'm sure that Steve was just trying to be less angry, I guess, and kind of turn around his public image and all that kind of stuff. But like, you don't have to jump in on this.
Yeah, you don't have to talk.
Just let it go.
Yeah. You don't have to say anything. Ferris says Jose does hold grudges. He kicked me out of his house over a grudge. I didn't kick you out of my house.
Damn.
What are you talking about? I didn't kick you out.
And case in point, I'm gonna go ahead and not jump in on this.
I didn't kick you out. You hung out. You met the family. No, I didn't kick you out.
Wow, Kim, you're really down. You're siding with losers. You're just really feeling it. We gotta run this back for Kim. We gotta get Kim back out of the.
She's saying she feels sorry for the losers. Yeah. She's like, I don't know what that feels like, even though we lost the Super Bowl, but I don't know what it feels like to actually be a loser because my organization wins. I'm gonna throw a little petty vote, a little pity vote. I should say.
My quarterbacks never missed the playoffs. Whatever. All right.
2-14. What's that? Is that a math equation?
Like, that's a bad first quarter. You'll bounce back. Wait, what? No.
Your record, you can lose that many games. They still let you play if you had that many losses. See, fact check Ferris. Now the truth comes out. It says, okay, he didn't kick me out. I had a joke, but Jose just made me feel bad. See that?
Bum scoop.
Guess good one, Jose. You might be right. There you go.
And this is 100% facts right here. Jay the Sixth saying, till this day, Kachari caught it. Shouldn't have come down to that, but yes, he did catch it. He absolutely caught it. And the very next play, strip sack, return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Not great.
Also, Ron Rivera's guilty. Okay, he's guilty. we've already put him on trial over this, but just the fact that I didn't even see the interview. I don't even want to watch it. I don't even want to watch him lie to Cam Newton's face. Okay, that's just going to get.
Pick up a phone, right? Just pick up a phone. That's all.
So you didn't. So
you've got Cam's number.
So he didn't see when that video went viral when Cam talked about how he was hurt that he didn't get a call. He didn't call him then.
Well, I'm not going to say that. Maybe he did. Maybe he did call him then, and that's when they set up his interview. I don't know. But you didn't call him before that. You didn't call him while it was going on.
And let's try to be opposite man today.
and listen, Cam said it. Like, he was a major part of you winning Coach of the Year twice. He was a major reason you got to the Super Bowl. He's a major reason you won multiple division championships. And if we're being honest, he's a major reason you got that job in Washington because of the success you had in Carolina. And you won't pick up the phone? All right.
Yeah. Guilty. All right, that's it. Big Reg had a submitted question, right?
Big Reg did have a question, but Big Reg also said that he respects rules and he'll have his question answered next week.
No. Let's bring it up. We got you the stinger videos, man. Like let's change the scene and let's ask the question.
I gotta look up what the question was again now.
All right. Well, I'll pull up the submitted questions. Yeah, I'll pull it up. Here we go. Submitted question. We haven't played this in a while. Let's go. Yeah.
That's the best one too.
It is. It's smooth. It's smooth. I like it. Submitted questions. All right. So we haven't been posting it on the community tab. That doesn't mean you can't submit a question. That's not the only place you can ask a question. You can ask a question Twitter, TikTok, IG, Facebook. It's all the same. At LBHT Show. We're the same handle everywhere. At LBHT Show. All right. You just say, hey, hashtag submit questions, or you want to email us, lbhtshow@gmail.com. There's all kinds of ways you can ask the question, but you guys like to use the community tab, which is fine. All right, we haven't been posting it regularly. I did post it for next week, though, so that's up. So for questions for next week, but we'll get Big Reg's question right now.
All right. Thank you, Big Reg, for the question. For submitting the question. But Big Reg would like to know is, have we reached a point where the Super Bowl is too high of an expectation for the Baltimore Ravens, especially with John Harbaugh as the head coach? I'll go ahead and let you take that. Since that's
all I heard right there is it time to fire Harbaugh and EDC? And the answer is yes. When you have a generational quarterback, when you've had he's had multiple MVPs, he should have had his third MVP. When you've had the best records in the league at times, right? What do you mean Super Bowl is too high of expectation? If you can do all that and you can show you're dominant at times and you just keep falling short, it's not, oh, we did the best we could, right? That's the difference between us and Philly. Philly said, yeah, we got to tweak some things. I guarantee you, if what's the coach's name? I'm forgetting his name for Philly.
Sirianni.
If Sirianni fell short of the Super Bowl this year, he'd have been gone.
I said Sirianni and Siri woke up on my phone. Sounds nice.
Oh, nice. They wouldn't have held on to Sirianni because they have too much talent on that team for him to mess it up.
And nobody likes him.
That's
also that. So you can be unlikable. You just have to win.
So to answer your question is too high of expectation. If you have to ask that question, then it's definitely time for your coach to leave.
Okay, Reg, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question as well. No, it's not too high of an expectation. Lamar Jackson's your quarterback. Lamar Jackson's the best player in football. As long as you have Lamar Jackson, you should be expecting that team to get to the Super Bowl, if not win a Super Bowl. Whether or not they're capable of it, I don't know. We did get a super chat. Thank you very much. I'm not.
Tensei Deresi. Okay. Tensei. Is that right? Thumbs up. Thumbs up for Tensei if we said that right.
You know that ain't right.
Deresi. I'm not sure if I got that right, but we try to get the names right on here. But thank you for the super chat. Salute.
Thank you. No one has stopped Baltimore more times than themselves. I mean, yes and no. I mean, you got to give the other team credit for forcing those turnovers. Buffalo intercepted that pass. Buffalo stripped Mark Andrews while he was trying to be the dancing queen out there. Listen, the snap. It was a bad snap. Lamar, he caught it. He turned around. He tried to make a play, but that defensive lineman was right on him. Right, like you got to give those guys credit for doing that. It was Josh Allen who ran over your defense. It was James Cook who made the middle of your defense look soft all day. So I mean, yes, it's part of it is Baltimore not being able to get out of their own way. Buffalo had nothing to do with Mark Andrews dropping that 2-point conversion. But you got to give credit to the other teams. They went out there and they beat Baltimore.
Yeah, and Tensei says yes. There you go.
Well done.
Thank you. All right. So now you know how to do submitted questions, okay? It's not just one place. It's everywhere, all right? So get your questions in. There's a lot to talk about this offseason. We didn't even talk NBA today. I meant to put that on there because LeBron and Luka are here, B.
Yeah.
LeBron and Luka are here.
And the best part about it is, like, you have two guys who, when they want to be, they're unstoppable on offense. You can't do anything with either one of those guys. And now, because you have to worry about both of them, it makes the other scrubs look like they can play.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves been hitting some shots. Gabe Vincent remembered how to make threes all of a sudden. Listen, people are going to be upset. But the Lakers are winning a championship this year.
I'm always rooting for LeBron, so I don't even like the Lakers. Pay the Bill says I would have preferred the Ronnie pass opposed to the Mark Andrews drop. Would you have rather they ran that pass play to Ronnie Stanley again, or a pass to Mark Andrews? If there was a do-over, if it was a flag on the play, and Harbaugh says, all right, I can run this play to Mark Andrews. He's going to get. He can't drop it twice, right? Mark Andrews can't drop it twice in a row. Right. We know Mark Andrews will get open here. Let's run this play again. Or look, the Ryan Stanley play, we'll get it right this time. We'll execute it. Nobody will see it coming. Which one do you pick?
All right. First of all, screw you. Pay the bills. But second, no, you didn't see his other comment. He said, I wonder if Luka felt like Cam Newton. Screw you. Second, I'm just gonna put this out there to all the Ravens fans. What Jose just asked you, if you feel like that's a legitimate question, why do you want to keep Mark Andrews?
Oh, I thought you say why you want to keep John Harbaugh.
well, nobody wants to keep John Harbaugh. But if you feel like that's a legitimate question, what's your rationale for keeping Mark Andrews?
Like, because both plays were bad plays.
Well,
right?
and you're talking about a top tight end versus throwing it to your left tackle. That's not a real question. That's not a question that anybody would ask. But if you feel like that's a legitimate question in Baltimore, then you don't need Mark Andrews.
True. If he dropped the ball and there's a flag and we get the ball again, he might as well just stand there and put decoy on his head. there's no way I'm throwing that man the ball.
I'd be saying says none, kick the ball. Hey, you needed
2 points.
You needed 2.
Now the 2-point conversion beforehand that we like a few
earlier.
drives before
The Mark Andrews
kicked
conversion, you needed 2.
Yeah. So we had which one would you rather have? Harbaugh's like, I only have 2 plays here. It's either gotta be Stanley or Andrews. Which one you going with? You might as well take a knee.
Yeah. Might as well. Oh, so right. I did want to. Do you want to? I'm just going to read real quick, and we can get out of here. The because it's actually Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock kind of trying to trash talk Alexis Ohanian.
All right, before you read that, patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where we're going to be next. All right. If you have as little as $5 in your pocket, all right, and I know you do, head over to patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's good for a month of the overtime show. Okay. We're going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance. We'll probably talk a little NBA and some other stuff too, right? Whatever comes to mind. What we don't get to on the main show, we discuss in the overtime show. A lot of fun. You also get access to our Discord channel, which is always something going on the Discord channel. And, once you're in, you're in. We don't kick anybody out unless you do something to get kicked out. All right. So patreon.com/LBHT Show. Check it out. All right. What did this idiot Stephen A. Smith say?
So, well, it's Stephen A. He said that he would divorce Serena for taking part in that halftime show. Jason Whitlock also went at Alexis Ohanian on Twitter. We did get a super chat here from our guy Jay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Jay.
You, Jay.
He says, if I'm Stewie, there's no way I'm definitely up after getting 0 points. Then 1v1. Yeah, Brianna Stewart got held to 0 points in her one-on-one with Aaliyah Boston. Because they're doing their one-on-one tournament right now.
Aaliyah Boston is no joke.
Yeah, but that's embarrassing. So Alexis Ohanian, who, if you don't know, is Serena Williams' husband, went on Twitter and said, some of y'all have no idea how criticized Serena was for this same dance at Wimbledon 13 years ago, and it shows. This is bigger than the music. That's what he tweeted. Jason Whitlock quote tweets that and says, this is Serena's husband, a true beta. If you call somebody a beta, you are automatically a beta, by the way.
I mean, and you look at Jason Whitlock, right? Like he projects everything.
He's mad at me rather than the wife crip walking and still thinking about Drake. Simp. And then Alexis Ohanian responded, and I'm not sure if this was directed at Whitlock or Stephen A. since they had both, run their mouths. But he says, I get it. You're 57 and life didn't turn out the way you imagined. Imagine being rich and famous and that dude being able to say that to you and it being true. Because he's way richer than you. Anyway, he's like, that kind of disappointment must be exhausting. You're the embodiment of peaked in high school, spending decades chasing validation from strangers through likes and digital hugs, only to find that no amount of external approval fills the void. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Criticism only fuels your victim complex, reinforcing the comforting delusion that there's some grand conspiracy against you and your, quote, brave ideas, when in reality, you've just got terrible takes. It's a cycle. Outrage, backlash, self-pity, repeat. This is a lonely road. There's still time to rewrite the ending. Start by working on yourself first. You'll find that if you wake up every morning trying to be a little better, a little more curious, you won't have time for irrational hating. You'll be too busy winning. So
what's sad? I don't know who he's talking about there. And the funniest thing about this whole thing is Stephen A. Smith hates Jason Whitlock. Right? But here they are in a situation where you don't know who's who.
Right. Because he described both of them perfectly.
And he could have said something like, I'm not sure if I'm Jason Whitlock or Stephen A. Y'all both the same. That would set their hair on fire. That would set their hair on fire. Right. If I was just like, hey, you're both the same, so I'm just going to address both. This is for both of y'all because you're one and the same. They will lose it. Stephen A. Smith would do a whole podcast dedicated to that.
2.5 hours.
Now, if you want his head, if you want,
I didn't say no. I'm sorry. I was reading Ferris. Edwards, not Boston. I don't know what I was thinking, but that would be Brianna.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ferris. Thank you. Now, if you want both of their heads to explode, All he had to say is, "Hey guys, I'm white. You'll never be me." They would break their monitors.
But I think he summed that up pretty well in his tweet there.
He did. Yes, Spider-Man meme. That's exactly living legend.
Oh
Exactly.
man, you remember that episode of The Office where Daryl from the warehouse accidentally saw Michael showed him his paycheck, and he was like, "Yo, you earning this really?" And he took a picture of it and he was sending it to everybody. That's what Alexis Ohanian just did to a dude who's making 8 figures.
Right, pay the bills. Exactly, Boondock style. Yep. So that's all he had to say. Hey guys, I'm actually white. You'll never be on my level. That would give Jason Whitlock a heart attack. Those guys. I mean, all right. We'll talk more on the Overtime Show. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. Come hang out with us, man. It's a lot of fun. Pay the Bills is gonna be in there. Jada Six is gonna be in there. All right. You come join us. All right. Appreciate the donations tonight, the super chats, all that. Man, we had a good amount of people in here. I had like 75 people in here on a Wednesday night in the off season. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We appreciate everybody that watched the video that we dropped earlier today. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on how the media robbed Lamar Jackson of his MVP award. Okay, because that's the reason why he's not hoisting his third MVP award. Check it out. Put a lot of time into that. All right. And now we're going to have some fun. All right. So Patreon members, get ready. The Overtime Show is starting soon. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
B is ready. Y'all be safe out there. We had a little snow today. Seems to be off the ground for the most part. But drive safe. All right. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.